Have you ever wondered how much India and Pakistan spend on their military and defense? This question might seem a bit technical, but let's take a moment to delve into it and understand why it's so important. The topic at hand is the comparative analysis of military and defense spending by India and Pakistan, two neighboring nations with a complex shared history. Now, you might ask, why is this significant? It's because military spending is a crucial aspect of a nation's security and power. Imagine a nation as a house. Just as the walls and locks of a house provide security to its inhabitants, a well-funded military provides security to a nation. It deters potential threats and ensures the safety and welfare of its people. But this isn't just about maintaining a strong defense line. Military spending also boosts a nation's global standing. It signals power, influence, and the ability to respond to crises. Now, why focus on India and Pakistan? Well, these two nations have been entwined in a complex geopolitical dance for over 7 decades. They share a border, a history, and a persistent sense of rivalry. Their defense budgets offer us a window into their military capabilities, strategic priorities, and the ways they allocate resources towards national security. It's also worth noting that while military spending can bolster a nation's security, it's a delicate balance. Too much spending can strain a nation's economy and divert resources from other important areas like education and healthcare. On the other hand, inadequate spending could leave a country vulnerable to threats. This is why understanding and comparing defense budgets is so crucial. So, as we dive into this comparative analysis, remember that these numbers aren't just figures on a page. They represent the strategies, priorities, and choices made by these nations. They are a reflection of how these countries perceive their security needs and how they plan to address them. It's essential to understand the defense budgets of these nations to get a glimpse into their military capabilities and strategies. So, let's dive in and explore this fascinating world of defense spending. So, how much does India actually spend on its defense? India's defense budget is staggering. In the fiscal year 2024, it was an estimated $71 billion. That's right, billion with a B. This places India among the top 3 highest spending countries on defense globally. But where does all that money go? The budget allocation is a complex process, divided among various sectors of the military. The Indian Army, the largest component of the Indian Armed Forces, receives the lion's share. It's followed by the Indian Air Force and then the Indian Navy. The Army's allocation is mainly focused on maintaining its vast personnel and upgrading its equipment. This includes the purchase of new tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery systems. The Air Force, on the other hand, focuses on acquiring advanced aircraft and enhancing its air defense capabilities. Here we see a significant portion of the budget spent on high-tech fighter jets, helicopters, and missile systems. The Navy, albeit smaller in comparison, still requires a substantial budget for its operations. The funds are used for the maintenance and upgrade of its fleet, which includes aircraft carriers, submarines, and various surface vessels. However, the budget is not just about hardware. A significant chunk goes towards salaries, pensions, and benefits for the personnel. In fact, these recurring costs make up almost half of the defense budget. Furthermore, the budget also includes spending on defense research and development. The country's Defense Research and Development Organization, known as DRDO, is at the forefront of innovating and developing new technologies for the armed forces. It's important to note that India's defense budget is not just about maintaining the status quo, it's about preparing for the future. With geopolitical tensions, emerging threats, and technological advancements, the country is investing in its defense capabilities to ensure its national security and regional stability. India's considerable defense budget reflects its position as a major regional power. Now, let's turn our attention to Pakistan. How much does it allocate for defense? When it comes to Pakistan, the defense budget has been a topic of great interest and discussion. The country, known for its geopolitical importance, has a unique set of security challenges that require a substantial defense budget. For the fiscal year 2023, Pakistan allocated approximately 7% of its gross domestic product to defense. In absolute terms, This translates to nearly $7 billion US. This figure, while not as large as India's defense budget, is still substantial, especially considering Pakistan's economic realities. But how is this budget distributed among different sectors of the military? Well, the lion's share of the defense budget goes to the Pakistan Army, the most significant branch of the military in terms of personnel and equipment. The Army receives around 50% of the total defense budget. This funding is used to maintain its sizable force, modernize equipment, and carry out various operations. The Pakistan Air Force and the Navy split the remainder of the budget, with the Air Force receiving around 25% and the Navy about 15%. The remaining 10% is allocated for defense production and other miscellaneous military expenses. It's also worth noting that these figures do not include the cost of Pakistan's nuclear program. The financial details of this program are classified and are not included in the official defense budget. Also, keep in mind that these numbers are just estimates. The actual defense spending could be higher due to hidden expenditures that are not part of the official budget. For instance, pensions for military personnel and funds for intelligence agencies often fall outside the official defense budget. In conclusion, defense spending is a significant part of Pakistan's national budget. It's a reflection of the country's security needs and geopolitical realities. Despite economic challenges, Pakistan continues to invest heavily in its defense, underscoring the importance it places on national security. Pakistan's defense budget, while smaller than India's, still represents a significant portion of its national budget. With the numbers in hand, how do India and Pakistan's defense budgets compare? When you look at the cold, hard figures, the gap between India and Pakistan's defense spending is rather significant. India's defense budget is considerably larger, dwarfing that of Pakistan's in terms of sheer volume. But what does this really mean for the military capabilities of these two nations? Well, a larger budget usually translates into a larger military force and more advanced equipment. India's increased spending allows for the maintenance of a larger standing army, a more sophisticated air force, and a more formidable navy. It also provides the resources needed to invest in cutting-edge technology and research, from advanced weaponry to cyber defense strategies. But it's not just about the size of the budget. It's also about how that money is allocated. India, with its larger budget, can afford to distribute its spending across various sectors of its defense, from personnel and training to equipment and infrastructure. This broad allocation allows India to maintain a well-rounded military force, capable of addressing a wide range of potential threats. On the other hand, Pakistan, with a smaller budget, has to be more strategic with its spending. It focuses its resources on specific areas where it feels it can get the most bang for its buck, so to speak. This might mean investing more heavily in certain branches of its military or prioritizing certain types of equipment or technology over others. This difference in budget and strategy can have a profound impact on the military capabilities of the two countries. A larger, more diversified military might have an advantage in a conventional conflict, but a smaller, more specialized force could potentially punch above its weight in specific scenarios. But it's important to remember that military might is not simply a numbers game. Strategy, diplomacy, alliances, these all play crucial roles in shaping a nation's defense capabilities. Money is just one piece of the puzzle. The difference in defense spending between India and Pakistan is stark, with each country prioritizing different aspects of their military. What can we deduce from these defense spending patterns? Let's summarize the main points. India allocates a significant portion of its national budget to defense, making it one of the world's top military spenders. Meanwhile, Pakistan, though having a smaller economy, dedicates a substantial part of its GDP to its military needs. This stark contrast in expenditure, coupled with the historical context, adds a unique dimension to the India-Pakistan dynamic. The implications of this defense spending are far-reaching. In terms of regional security, both nations are heavily invested in maintaining a strong military presence. This is reflective of their strategic priorities and the perceived threats they face. It's worth noting that the subcontinent's stability is often seen through the prism of this India-Pakistan rivalry, which underscores the importance of their defense postures. Power dynamics are another aspect to consider. India, with its larger military budget, has a broader global reach and influence. Pakistan, on the other hand, focuses its resources on maintaining a robust defense mechanism, primarily aimed at countering India. This divergence in approach is indicative of their respective strategic visions and geopolitical realities. Looking ahead, future projections suggest that defense spending will continue to be a key aspect of both nations' national policies. India, with its growing economy, might further increase its military budget, consolidating its position as a regional superpower. Pakistan, despite economic constraints, is unlikely to significantly reduce its defense expenditure, given its strategic imperatives. The impact of these expenditures extends beyond the realm of military might. It influences aspects like diplomatic relations, international alliances, and domestic politics. Therefore, understanding these defense budgets is crucial for anyone interested in the geopolitics of South Asia. While numbers can't tell the whole story, they do provide a fascinating insight into the military priorities of India and Pakistan.